today's lecture is on communication types. Communication types are also called transmission modes. So let us discuss what is a transmission mode. Transmission mode means transferring data between two devices. Now there are various ways of transferring data between two devices. So that is called a communication mode. Buses and networks are designed to allow communication to occur between individual devices that are interconnected. So buses means the communication links in between the interconnected devices. So in a network, what are the interconnected devices? Let us consider the computers are the interconnected devices in a network and are connected by buses. So there are some ways of communication to occur between these devices or computers. So basically we divide these communication modes into three types. Number one is simplex mode of communication. Number two is half duplex mode of communication, and number three is full duplex mode of communication. So let us start with the simplex mode of communication. So what is a simplex mode of communication? So in simplex mode of communication, the communication is unidirectional. That means the data or information travels in only one direction. So you can take an example of a one-way street where vehicles are allowed to pass in only one direction. So in a simplex type of communication, only one of the two devices, or you can say one of the two computers on a link can transmit, and other computer in the link receive what? The data or information. So the simplex mode can use the entire capacity of the channel to send data in one direction. So I can take one example, keyboard and traditional monitors. So when you press any key of the keyboard, it can send data to the computer, but the keyboard will not receive any data from the computer. So the keyboard can only introduce input. Similarly, if we talk about the computer's monitor, it can only give the output. So you can see the diagram here. So there is only a single direction of communication. So now let us discuss the advantages of simplex data transmission. So simplex mode is the easiest and most reliable mode of communication. It is the most cost-effective mode as it only requires one communication channel. There is no need for coordination between transmitting and receiving devices, which simplifies the communication process. So simplex mode is particularly useful in situations where feedback or response is not required, such as broadcasting or surveillance, where you need only one direction of communication. Now there are some disadvantages of simplex mode of communication also. Only one-way communication is possible. It is not possible to have two-way communication. There is no way to verify if transmitted data has been received correctly, because here you are not going to receive any acknowledgement. Simplex mode is not suitable for applications that require bidirectional communication. So from this you can understand that there are in some cases simplex mode of communication has some advantages, and it is also having some disadvantages. Okay, if we talk about advantages, it's very simple and most reliable. Okay, then it's cost effective because one way is needed here. Okay, no need of coordination between sending and receiving machine. Okay, where you can use this in situations where there is no response is needed. Okay, but some disadvantages also, as we discussed. Okay, only one way of communication is possible. Okay, and there is no way to verify if transmitted data has been received correctly, because acknowledgement is not possible here. And it is not suitable for applications that require bidirectional communication. So this is all about the simplex mode of communication. So I think you understood the things. So you will be able to so in this lecture we are going to discuss half duplex mode of communication. So in half duplex mode of communication, each station can both transmit and receive data and information, but not at the same time. That means they are not able to transmit data and information in both the directions simultaneously. That means when one device is sending data, another device is receiving the data. When another device is sending data, the other device is receiving the data. So we can say sending and receiving is not possible at a time. So when one device is sending, other can only receive, and vice versa. So half duplex mode is used in cases where there is no need for communication in both directions at the same time. The entire capacity of the channel can be utilized for each direction here. So let us take an example of walkie-talkie, in which message is sent one at a time and messages are sent in both directions. So you might have seen a walkie-talkie. So a walkie-talkie is a type of wireless telephone set where when you speak in one telephone set, at the other end the another person who is using the another telephone set will not be able to speak when you are speaking. So you have to speak, then you have to say over, you have to push a button, only that time another person will be able to speak, and again that person has to say over, then that person will push a button and that person will be able to speak. So that means this is a very good example of half duplex mode of communication where communication is possible in both direction but not simultaneously. So this is the thing. So now there are different advantages and disadvantages of half duplex mode of communication. Let us discuss the advantages first. So I have already told you that half duplex mode of communication allows for bidirectional communication. That means communication is possible in both the ways, okay, which is useful in stations where devices need to send and receive data. But one limitation is there, that I told you, that the communication is possible in both direction but not simultaneous communication. This you have to remember, okay. So it is a more efficient mode of communication than simplex mode, as the channel can be used for both transmission and reception, okay. So one channel you are using, that is for transmission as well as receiving, okay. So but not simultaneous, that you have to remember. Half duplex mode is less expensive than full duplex mode, as it only requires one communication channel, okay, that you have to remember, okay. So now let us see some disadvantages. So half duplex mode is less reliable than full duplex modes. Because why is this? Because both devices cannot transmit at the same time, that you have to remember. So there is a delay between transmission and reception, which can cause problem in some application. And another disadvantage is there, that is there is a need for coordination between transmitting and receiving devices, which can complicate the communication process. So you have seen, so this type of communication, how the half duplex mode of communication works, and what are the different advantages and disadvantages of half duplex mode of communication, okay. In some ways you can see it is advantageous, and in some other way it is not advantageous, it is disadvantageous. So you might have seen here, okay. And it is also less reliable as compared to full duplex mode of communication, because I have already told you the limitation that both the devices cannot transmit simultaneously, okay. One device will transmit, then another device will wait, then again another device will transmit at the same time, another device will wait, okay. So many examples we have seen in computer networks, then in our daily life. One example I have already given you, that is of walkie-talkie, okay, you might have seen. You can sometimes you might have seen children playing with walkie-talkie. Okay, one person is speaking, another person is listening, another person is speaking, another is listening. So that way things are happening there. Okay, so here in this lecture we are going to discuss another very interesting and important mode of communication, and that is called full duplex mode of communication. So, as the name suggests, in full duplex mode, both stations can transmit and receive simultaneously. That means both stations can send and receive data and information simultaneously. That means at a time. So, in full duplex mode, signals going in one direction share the capacity of the link with signals going in another direction. So, this sharing can occur in two ways. So, either the link must contain two physically separate transmission paths. That means two wires you can use, one for sending, another for receiving. Okay, or the capacity, that means capacity of the wire or the capacity of the channel is divided between signals traveling in both the direction. Okay, so full duplex is used when communication in both directions is required all the time, and the capacity of the channel, however, must be divided between two directions. So a lot of applications are there, like where like the communication of half duplex type will not work, because there you can see communication is not simultaneous. So we need another this type of communication where we need simultaneous communication. Okay, for that we need full duplex. So you can see the figure here, the two computers are communicating. So we are using here two channels. One channel is for sending the data to another computer, another channel is for receiving data from another computer. Okay, so things are done but in a simultaneous manner. Okay, so telephone network is a very good example of full duplex mode of communication. Okay, so you have used telephone, you might have seen using, other people are using telephone. Okay, it might be wire or wireless, it doesn't matter. So you might have seen, you might have noticed that while talking over telephone, two people may talk simultaneously. Okay, one person is talking at the same time, another person is talking from the another end. So the person who is talking from one end will be able to listen to other person's voice who is at the other end. Okay, so this thing is possible in full duplex but not in half duplex. Okay, so even you might have seen like some people are calling, okay, verbally over telephone. So it is possible in telephone but not in half duplex. Okay, therefore every time they throw some statement, they have to say over, okay, and press a switch, otherwise it is not possible there in half duplex. But in full duplex, that means in telephone line, it is possible. So you have to keep this thing in mind. So next, go to the advantages of full duplex mode. So full duplex mode allows for simultaneous bidirectional communication. Okay, bidirectional means in both the direction, and simultaneous means at a time, and it is a very ideal for real-time application. Okay, now you might have seen like people are quarreling, okay, in some topic, like in television using video conferencing, or there might be some online gaming system. So their simultaneous and bidirectional communication is very much needed, otherwise you won't be able to like do video conferencing. It will become very slow and very irritating. Okay, so to get rid of this, we need full duplex mode of communication. It is the most efficient mode of communication, as both the devices can transmit and receive data simultaneously. So that you have to keep in mind. And full duplex mode provides a high level of reliability and accuracy, as there is no need for error correction mechanism. Okay, now let us go through the disadvantages. Full duplex mode is most expensive mode, as it requires two communication channels, that I have already told you, and it is much more complex than simplex and half duplex modes, and is required two physically separate transmission paths, okay, or a division of channel capacity. Then another point is there, that is full duplex mode may not be suitable for all applications, as it requires high level of bandwidth and may not be necessary for some types of communication. Okay, So this is all about full duplex and half duplex mode of communication, as well as simplex mode of communication. So these are the various modes of communication a computer network may use for data communication. So I think you understood this lecture.